Hey people, it's no secret that the obelisk represents a phallus, and I found the writings about it in the Greek story of the dragon, the obelisk. So what you're looking at here is a court case, and you have the two sides, and then you have the judgment. So you have the prosecutor, and he shares. This is a share. It represents the earth plowed up. You can see all three of them shared. Judge has got the biggest share. And so the prosecutor shares blah 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 cartouche. And so this cartouche here, this is three words jammed together. And it's the court. The court to which. And so just like today when they're arguing a case, they'll recall old cases. Well, the court to which made this judgment, and then the defense will argue his case over here for the truth of life, Matt Onk, and to share, and blah 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 blah, and then the court to which, and then this one in the middle is real easy to see. It's bigger, and so this is the judge. And you can see it starts with an ox, to give, and this is a dental tooth, and it's L, mat, limit. The ox give, limit, share. And so this dental tooth come from the old Greek letter L, that was the dentilia. And this is a part of a plow, the dentilia, the tooth. So this ox give limit means, if you have one ox, you can plow 1 acre a day. If you have two oxes, you can plow 2 acres. And so the power, the ox is the power that gives the limit of share. So the judge is the power to give the limit of share. And then they call this a bee all the time. It's not a bee. It's got pointy wings. It's a wasp. And it represents the letters WSP. And as to spit, was spit. And so spit, that would be the word you hear all the time when I'm reading the Hebrew, and it says, and he came down, judgment is a spit. Was spit. And then this is an X, worldwide X. I know the Romans say it's an N, but it's an XT. The exit. The ox give the limit to share, the spit of exit, the outcome, exit. The judgment of outcome. And then the court to which. And then you see a little L down here. The of many give kafir. Of many give kafir first, the top, the head. Of many give the cart to which of many give cover. So under that you have an I, and it represents to see, or the letter O. And then you have the waves, or the water, and it represents cycle, or N, as in O-N, on. And then you have this little serpent, and they say it's an F, but it's actually a Q. And it can be pronounced PH, as in philosophy. It was actually spelled with 2 Q's, F. Or it can be pronounced as a K. And then this is an owl, but he's kind of large, and it represents the letter M, but it's also O, owl. And then you have a men, and then 3 represents your vowel U, menu. And then a QN, TQ. And so it says on come menu fantic, but this M has another meaning too, and you'll see it Q-O-W-L-S. The M's final, it's pronounced as a S. That's why they say that the words ending with M are plurals, because it's a S on this way. If it's in front, it's a M. And they'll give it the meaning perpetual or everlasting. The wise old owl lasts forever. Everlasting is the owl. The owls. Final M is a S. Owls. On that movie I did on Josher last week, you can see it's in 37.1, and it's iniquity, and it's sometimes it's antiquity. And so that's why this owl's so big compared to the other letters, and it's letting you know that to pass judgment on QOWL, on foul men of UF antique, ANTQ, antique, men of old, antiquity, or antics, on the foul men of antic. And so you'll see this this NQ owl, this in foul. You'll see it here, of the foul, the non and foul of their antics, none and foul. It's in the ancient rock, but it's easier to see on there. You see it here, the NQ owl, and it has this the foreskin, and I'm not sure. I haven't figured out exactly what letters that represents yet, but that's what that is a foreskin. The priest food usually represents. So these people were genius, and there's a lot in here. You can also see ONQ as in onk, or on come from old, menu, and this is old menu, and he always has a hard plow, and he has his produce, what he produced with his hard plow. Girls might have heard it before. I sure would like to plow that. That's where that comes from. So you can see that this judgment of Kufr is possibly around 2570 BC. I was reading this in the Hebrew, and it was fairly easy to figure out what it was saying, so I thought I'd come over here to the Greek and see if I could learn something. But in the Greek it's called the dragon. In the Hebrew it's called Leviathan. So on their interpretation, none of these words are right. And his strawn bed points is of sharp, and all the gold of the sea under him is as mud untold. And so these numbers here are trying to tell you that this should read untold mud, as is untold mud. Same as here, they're trying to tell you it should be read his strong bed is of sharp points. But where they got this strong bed here is this Greek is called the Septuaginta, and I did a movie on this called the 72 Code, and that's how they got this strong bed, as they was reading this in the 72 Code. And so this is he, H-E, in the 72 Code you'll read this N-H. You go, it's septum 2, cut the last 2 off. You read the last 2 letters first, so it's N-H-S-T-R-O-O-M, the nest room, in his strong bed, in his nest room, in his bedroom is where they got that. So that's why most of this Greek is easier to read if you just leave the last 2 letters off. You can see it's obelisk. And the whole chapter reads like this, the whole book reads like this. And it shows their genius because it reads both ways. But if you just read it straight through, it's he. He's strumming what to obelisk, O-I, how excess, O-X-E-I-S, excess. He's strumming what to obelisk how excess, how too much. He's strumming his obelisk too much. The Pays de Cruces. The Pays de, we have something in down here called a fade-o-do, and it means a street dance. And that's this pronunciation, the pad de, that means the dance, the paid is the foot, the pay-de-do, the dance for two people, the dance of two, the pay, the foot. But it's also to pay the cruces, the lashes it put on, EPAUTON, he put on as purple as, PEROS as, PERPEPHLOS, as purple as amethyst. This is the ancient Greek word for amethyst, as purple amethyst. And so they say it means, the A means not, and methusak, as in not drunk. Meth is a old word meaning intoxicated, drunk. And so the amethyst, it grows in the shape of a pyramid with points. And so we learned something by looking at the Greek history. It's translated as not drunken, and this is why that they made their goblets out of it, to keep you from getting drunk. And the story was a couple different stories that it was that Bacchus, the god of intoxication of wine and grapes, was pursuing a maiden named Amethyst, who refused his affections. She prayed to the god to remain chaste, a prayer to the goddess of chaste Diana, and answering, transforming her into a white stone. Humbled by her desire to remain chaste, Bacchus poured wine over the stone as an offering, dyeing the crystal purple. But we see more here in this other story, in this variation. It was Dionysius, which is also associated with Horus and Jesus and everybody born on December 25th, had been insulted by a mortal sworn to slay the next mortal who crossed his path. And creating fierce tigers to carry out his wrath, the mortal turned out to be a beautiful young woman, Amethyst, who was on her way to pay tribute to Artemis. Her life was spared by Artemis, who transformed the maiden into a statue of crystalline quartz to protect her from the brutal claws. Dionysius wept tears of wine in remorse of his action at the sight of the beautiful statue, and the god's tears then stained the quartz purple. So it's the god's tears, Dionysius' tears, stained quartz purple. So we go back up here to see what makes this quartz purple. And it's said to be caused by irradiation, radiation, impurities of iron. And so it's caused by the radiation iron in the stone. So radiation comes from the sun. Exposed radiation. Exposure originate from various sources, including natural, the sun. Most frequently refers to ionization radiation. So Dionysius cries radiation of iron. And so that would give us a better idea that Dionysius is the sun. So the strumming of the obelisk in excess pays the crucius of the lashes. And so if you study any on opening your third eye and your seven chakras, that's one of the first things you learn. Is what you're doing is you've taken that sexual energy and converting it and send it back up. And and masturbation is going to stop it. It's going to cut your third eye out. You got to save up that sexual energy, and it's called the crucian of the oil. You also see this word is in the oil, the cruce. So pays the crucian of the lashes, and so your third eye chakra is amethyst. It's the purple as amethyst. And that's your upper chakra, is the purple amethyst, your crown. And so the idea is to open your third eye, and then it lights your crown. Then you have all knowledge. So he's strumming what to obelisk how excess pays the crush as the lashes they put on as purple as amethyst. So in the Hebrew, the story's called God's power shown in creatures. And they say, can you draw out Leviathan with a hook or a line which you lower and snare his tongue? And so this Leviathan is just spelled Lvitn. And so Leviathan's known as the sea monster. And so anytime we fish, and if we catch a really big fish, that's what we call it, is a monster. And so what this says is times, TMSK, times give Leviathan back, BHKE. And sometimes you got to throw the big fish back. Times give Leviathan back. And then this line here is kind of right. It's to Vevel, and so this B doesn't have a dot. It's pronounced V, and they use several words for this, but it's Vav. VHV is Vav, and so Vav means the connection, and so this is a Vav. This first letter is a Vav. And it means connect or to, and to vavel is the connection between you and that big fish. It's not necessarily the string, but it's also the time spent between. And to vavel is whatever's in between now and tomorrow is the vavel between us, is the timeline. And so times give Leviathan back, to Vavel, to Sophia, SQIO, Sophia, the wisdom, to Vavel, to look back at that time of the Sophia, of the wisdom of lesson of his tongue, LSNU, the lesson learned. Sometimes you got to cut the line. You're not going to be able to get that big fish in and count it up to the wisdom of the lesson. So it talks about many sea creatures throughout here, and if you go to the bottom of it, is cheating. It's kind of cheating, and it kind of tells what's going on, but it's the TA, and the hyphen tells me to read this backwards, so it's LK, the talk, and then you read it back this, so this is LKL, the TALK, and it's the talk of, L is of, or to, the talk to, and then EB, it reads backwards and forwards, so now it's EVGVE, the talk of give. And then the year, YRAE, the year, the talk of give, the year, who milk all of clean, KLIN, clean, B is N, and NIX, the clean in necks his chest. It's time to give him the talk when you walk in his room and seeing he's got a clean X on his chest. XHSHX on his chest. H is pronounced checks on his chest. And you can see that that was common in the picture of Menu. Always had the X on his chest. You see here old Menu keeps that X on his chest. And you also see it here in this old rabbit, or the rubbit, keeps that X on his chest. So here in the Hebrew, they interpret this as his undersides are like sharp pot shards. He spreads pointed marks in the mire. So I don't search for pornographic quotes in the Bible. The whole Bible is either racist or pornographic, and they're not going to let me post the racist stuff, so we're going to have to deal with the pornographic. That to had Woody, chores make rapid. The crust, holy thy tithe. And so that too is like pirates talking, is that one, that too be the one that stole my watch, that too, that one. Had Woody. Woody is slang for a stiffy. That to had Woody, chores. Chores is given a couple different meanings through the Bible, but it either means the deaf or one who works with the hands. And so somebody who's deaf, they talk with their hands, the chores. To make rapid. With the hands to make rapid. And then this is the same word that we saw over here for the crusos. The XRUS, the crus, the crux, holy tithe-in. So the holy tithe-in, they give it the meaning in the mire. And so that's it's read backwards and forwards, THYTHITH. The holy thy tithe. And so they give it the meaning mire because, in the church, the more you tithe, the more you're admired. So that's the crus, holy, the taxing. You're taxing your holy oils that you use to light up that third eye are being tithed. Thy tithing. You're taxing the holy oil. So this actually has a couple stories in it here in this Hebrew. But this leave it in has several meanings. And it means leave it in. Sometimes you better leave it in your pants. And sometimes it's the girl telling you, no, leave it in. She wants to have your baby. And so sometimes it's Leviathan, to raise it up. Leviathan. And so I imagine your first condoms ever, 6,000 years ago, they were probably called Leviathans, as in leave it in. And so when you look for a picture of Leviathan, you often find Leviathan drawn as this huge sea condom. Oh, Leviathan. And so it talks about above here, it was his first time. And then he done figured it out here. And he goes from the stooger to miller. And you can see where they put this word here, the millstone, where they missed. From the stooger, that's one who stages the mill, stages the grain to be milled. And so he was stooging, he was lugging the grain around, and now he's the miller. Boy, now he's a pro. From severs, from the cut off, it hath of. And then here, message, MSIGEU. The message to her in belly to fuse. On it from so to Shari. The message from her in belly to fuse. On it from so to Shari. And so to Shari it's the old French word for a new loving baby. The Shari, a beloved pampered child. From so, because of, from what you did, from so to Shari, to have a new baby. So it's time to have that talk. And as to the dragon here, you'll notice in all that old dragon art that he's got a spade tail. And that's the spade that your dragon is, a plow. A spade tail. The old spade, old dragon, drags behind you. So back in the day when the old knight in armor come back and he was sweating and he says, I've done slayed the dragon. What he's trying to say is it was a job getting all that armor off just to choke his chicken. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Hope everybody learned something. Good day.